What is some of the data that you find integral and important to trade with your underwriters and get them up front? What are some of the key things that you want to point out on any given hab risk? Forget in New York, Florida, we're talking across the states. Where does a retailer start when bringing it in?
I think it's all about having loss experience that we can validate throughout the schedule of properties, right? There's a lot of acquisition activity, a lot of divestiture activity. So, sometimes you don't have the full 5-year picture for each and every location, right? And there's ways for us to kind of navigate around that, because it's tough to get loss runs from a prior seller. But I think, having the loss experience buttoned up is the number one thing to kind of get your carriers moving from there. And then from there, it's historical exposures, and then that life safety data that we spoke about, and their third-party contracts and whatnot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think for me, it's kind of just even getting a story, setting the expectation and whatnot. Who said yes, who said no. Obviously, we've referenced the new sellers and new purchases quite a bit. It's finding out if, whoever's on the prior, whoever's on the seller is going to consider it. If not, why not? So, I think for me, it's, trying to simplify it for everybody. I think that the costs are going to be through the roof regardless of where you go. So you just have to be able to come up with a plan and a way to kind of divulge that plan to the retailer and then help them pass that along to, obviously the consumer. I think you and I wouldn't be thrilled if our car insurance went up times 1,000 with no explanation, every 6 months when we went to pay it. So I think just being prepared in this market's really key.
Right, without a doubt. And we've done an exceptional job at getting that story from the retailer and putting it out to the marketplace and keeping it as simple as possible. But once we have the story, it's like, okay, I think I can work with this now. And then, our underwriter will get back to us with maybe a couple questions from there or just a quote from there, right? So it's all about mapping out that story, I feel like, because every account has a story.
Yeah.
There's some sort of story for everything, whether there's structural issues, like we had those 2 accounts with the structural issues in the garage that went from, $5,000 on the primary, and all of a sudden they were paying, $200,000 all in for their excess. So, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but us getting the real story from our agent, from our partner is critical for us.
Well, I think it just sort of validates your info to the underwriter and shows what you're about and that you're real up front. Because let's face it, you can't hide from anything with the internet. You've got the Department of Buildings website, HPD violations, regardless of what it is that's tied to this building that has it, us as E&S players seeing it, we're going to get to the bottom of it. So if you give it to all of us up front, allow us to be professionals and do our job and trust our relationships that we're continuing to build every day. I think that, you, myself, and Kevin probably speak to the same 5 underwriters on repeat day in and day out. It's like the old phone, you're just kind of going. So, I think that kind of adds to our expertise and kind of our relationship building in this space. But, it's not to say that I'm not surprised. We see something new every day, whether it be some of the claims tied to these buildings, whether it be, obviously, like we said, some of the structural issues. Obviously, every year we get a little bit, these buildings get a little bit older. They meet new requirements that, on what's safe and what isn't. So we're definitely in a learning landscape.
Definitely. And, like you see it all the time too. It could just be one claim in 5 years for $500,000, slip and fall, right? They fix the sidewalk, they've mitigated it happening again, but it's like that carrier's still gonna non-renew it and your premium's still gonna go up. But having that story for us to tell to the underwriter makes a difference. And I think when we do have it, we garner better results. And when we don't have it, it's more of a crapshoot. It's more of a crapshoot in the marketplace. It's like, guys, what's the story here? Right? It's like, I don't know. I don't have one, right?